Leonardo DiCaprio. Just kidding. You are not him. You are you, and thank God. We only need one Leonardo DiCaprio, and we got him already. So check that box off the list. Everyone on Earth needs to be here. We all have a purpose. We all have a divine path. We all have a mission and a dream to accomplish and bring from the divine subconscious into conscious light, into conscious action, into this plane. So let's get to work and do that, Leo. Are you with me? I am not leading a parade right now or a rebellion. Neither of those words were the words that I was trying to think of. Leading a movement. I'm not trying to lead a movement right now. I'm just trying to give you a tarot reading for the month of March. So let's get to that. If you have an intention you'd like to set, or a question you'd like to ask, or just something in your life that you're curious about, or you want guidance on, or I don't know, literally anything. There is no limit. I was gonna say the sky is the limit. The sky is not even the limit, you guys. The universe is ever expanding. That's what is available to you. Use it. This is our time to connect with divine source energy and get some very important downloads that we don't get from our everyday life, that we don't get when we're focused on our phones or our computers or the dishes or the chores or the jobs or the money or the blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? I hope you know, because I don't know 100%. So this tarot reading is exactly what you need right now from the divine. I hope it is resonant and relevant. Also, if you haven't liked or subscribed, could you maybe like and subscribe? I'm trying to build out this community of spiritual seekers, people who want to be living on more planes than just this one. That's what this community is for. That's what this space is for. And I want you to be a part of it. So please join me as we fight for the truth. I'm leading a movement again. What am I doing? I'm a tarot reader. I have to read these cards. Leo, we have the King of Swords, the Two of Swords, the Lovers. This is very cool, I think. We were talking, if I remember correctly, last month about you letting feminine wildness, wild vulnerability, wild emotion come through. And Leo, you are still on that path. Once again, we have Two Swords cards really in your head here. Contrasting the Lovers card, which is a partnership in your life. It doesn't have to be romantic. But if it is, then this is a real deal partnership for you, Leo. This is a connection that is larger than this life. That opens you up to seeing things, to glimpsing the divine. Two of Cups relationships they serve their purpose too. They're very important. We connect with people on a deep level, but this partnership is the one that happens where you connect with this. It's only through connecting with this other entity that you're able to then glimpse the angel. It's like this holy trifecta that happens, and it's not about the other person necessarily. I mean, it is to a certain degree. They're an important ingredient in this, but it's really more so about deepening yourself through this relationship with others, glimpsing the angel, glimpsing the divine that you're really glimpsing is in yourself. And it might be in your partner, but your partner's only a mirror for you. We need a mirror sometimes to see things over our shoulders, behind us, to see ourselves from a perspective we don't normally see ourselves. And that's also what I mean by glimpsing the divine. This relationship unlocks vision for you that you just don't have alone. And it's not And I don't mean to say, again, I'm not like putting romantic love on a pedestal. I'm not saying this is about your soulmate. It could be. I think for many of you, this is about your soulmate, a soulmate. This is about a very, very deep, lasting, mature relationship. But for some of you, that's not romantic necessarily. This can be a relationship with another person that is serving as that mirror for you, that is helping you glimpse the divine in some way. This can be a relationship with a love of your life that's not even human. Maybe it's a passion of yours, and it's through your relationship with that passion, with that thing that you're passionate about, that you are glimpsing the divine, that you're able to see yourself in a new light, that you're able to see the expanse of yourself for how expansive you truly are. For some of you, and I'm hearing this is very important, for some of you Leos, this is your relationship with your highest self, your higher self. This is a relationship that will be there with you your entire life, whether you tend to it or you don't, whether you nourish it or you don't. You will always have a relationship with your higher self, with the divine in you. And it may not be focused on any one particular specific other as a mirror, you know. This could just be talking about... This truck is really actually not happy with what I'm saying right now. The truck is out of touch with its highest self, but it will get there if it's a Leo. I don't remember what I was saying. I don't remember what I was saying. Thanks, truck. Regardless, whatever this relationship is, Leo, this is about unlocking a part of yourself that makes you understand your more true divine nature, makes you align more with your true divine nature, makes you identify more as divine than as human. You're a divine being in a human form. You are a spiritual being living a human experience. How does that affect how you live your life? How does that affect how you spend your time? How does that affect what you put into your relationships? How you connect with others, knowing that they are divine beings too. This month for you is so much about getting out of thought and getting into that lover's space. The reason I say this is because I think last month, wow, I don't know why I'm remembering so much from your last reading, but I think you had Queen of Swords last time, and now you have the King of Swords, and now you have Two of Swords. This is like saying, whereas the Queen of Swords like allowed her life experience to affect her movement forward, she still is in touch with the feminine enough to be somewhat in flow, right? We have a king here, and kings are not in flow. Kings are ruled by structure and formula. It's a ladder. If you are approaching this relationship like a ladder, if you are approaching this relationship with other, or this relationship with your higher self, or this passion in your life as a ladder, then you're not really milking it for all that it's worth. Then you're not really opening yourself up to the deep transformation that this can have in your life. You're still trying to control the transformation and rationalize it and think about it from a very logical viewpoint. What you're supposed to do in this relationship, how you're supposed to go about getting closer to someone or something or yourself. And all of that your expectations and your projections are being filtered through the eyes of this King of Swords. Meaning they're being filtered through bias and prejudice that are part of your conditioning that you're not even really recognizing as bias or as prejudice, because it's just so integral to the inner workings of your thought process, or it's so integral to how you've always approached things, and you define how you always approach things by your mind. You're defining things by your thoughts instead of being the observer of your thoughts and questioning why you think what you think. The King of Swords can be somewhat dominated by thought in a way that it limits his beliefs and philosophies and the true power of his mind, because he limits his mind in a way that doesn't really get to connect with other ways of knowing, his heart, his soul. Mental analysis always takes precedent over heart analysis. I shouldn't even say analysis. It's not really heart analysis. Over heart feeling and gut wisdom. And so he is limited. He is limited by his thoughts, but he doesn't see how those things are limited, because he values his brain so much that he can't possibly see his brain as being the problem. For some of you, this is you, Leo. For others, this is the partner in your life that we're talking about. You feel torn between the lover's wisdom, the gut wisdom, divine wisdom, something that's opening you up to a deeper kind of knowing. You feel torn between that and the control and dominance and projections and logic of this person who you love, admire, and trust. So you are the Two of Swords in the middle here. That feels kind of like at a stalemate, being forced to decide between what seems to be two options. But as we know with the Two of Swords, it's never a simple thing of deciding between between two clear options. It might feel that way, and we might think ourselves up into think ourselves into a fizzy. That's not right. A tizzy. Thinking ourselves into a tizzy. We think ourselves into a tizzy to the point that we think we only have two choices, and these things are black and white, and we must choose. And we can't choose because it's unnatural to choose between black and white, and so then we become stuck and paralyzed. So for those of you who that's resonant with, know that you don't have to choose between this person and what lover wisdom is telling you, or it's not even a simple thing between like this person is not part of this lover's relationship. It's, I think some of you are feeling like, well, I either choose this person or I choose my soulmate, who's someone else who's out there, and that's your brain misleading you too. This person might also be someone that you're not in the partnership with, but they're kind of dominating or domineering a different partnership in your life. And this can be someone who's actively in your life. This can be the voice of someone from your past who still lives on in your head and in your present moment, and they are dominating this relationship in your life because their voice has become a part of your inner dialogue, and you hear them speak a lot. You hear them as the critic or the censor, the doubter, the fearful voice in your head as you look at this lover's relationship in your life. And they're kind of putting on the pressure for you to make some sort of decision about this partnership, about this relationship. And it's a decision that you don't need to make. It's only by listening to them that you think you need to make this decision. You don't. That's mental pressure. That's not real, Leo. Now I want to go back. If this King of Swords is you, if this King of Swords might be that, you know, you feel like you have lived your life up until now as very much as the King of Swords, someone who is swift to make judgment and really values their mental thought processes above other ways of knowing. You might be finding yourself at a crossroads right now because that kind of approach to life has led you to this, which is a way of handling problems or opposition that involves pushing everything away beyond this emotional fence. And it's not even letting problems. It's like letting things that we think might be problems. It's like letting things that we think might be too emotional, keeping those things behind a fence. Because if we let those things approach us, we might get hurt. And the blindfold is not confusion here. The blindfold isn't actually being torn about anything in our minds. It's not actually having like a mental problem to solve. It's not like, oh, I feel really confused about this relationship and I really am having like these active opposition feelings or thoughts about this, like that are in opposition with each other, that are contradictory. It's not that. It's not any actual real confusion inside you. It's a deliberate closing of your eyes, purely to avoid the emotion that the King of Swords has avoided his whole life, but has ironically been very much manipulated by. Because we can't have bias and prejudice without emotion being a factor in that. How are bias and prejudice formed? Yes, they are mental, they live in the brain, but they're crafted through the lens of the heart. And once we're able to see that our bias and prejudice has an emotional root, then we can rewrite what we're thinking. This month for you, Leo, is about accessing this divine love, accessing this connection to source that is possible, again, only through relationship. And I don't necessarily mean that for many of you, again, this is with a romantic partner. For others, this is a friendship. This is a passion. This is your relationship with your higher self. But it's through this relationship, you relating to something that you see as outside of yourself, as a way of glimpsing the divine, as a way of touching the divine. And that is what lies beyond this emotional fence for you. That's what lies beyond the limited beliefs and thoughts and judgments of the King of Swords. It's a deliberate closing of his eyes. It's a deliberate closing of your eyes. And you can also deliberately choose to open them. You can deliberately choose to allow things to approach you and risk being hurt. Or risk feeling something more complicated. Something less purely peaceful or happy. That's a gift of relationship like this with other. Is having a space to explore the complexities that we normally keep locked away behind the emotional fence. It's much harder to understand those, to explore those on our own. It's easier to do that when we have a mirror, a willing mirror, to partner with us in that exploration, which really is divine work. That's beyond human work. Human work is what we're doing in the world to make money. It's doing the chores. Why am I keep talking about, did I talk about doing chores in the beginning? It's doing chores. It's paying our taxes. It's going grocery shopping. It's doing the tasks, the day-to-day to-do list, crossing those off. That's the human work that we do. This is divine work. This is deeper work. And if you want your life to be meaningful beyond the human work, then the emotional fence needs to come down. The deliberate opening of your eyes needs to happen. The thinking beyond past judgment. Beyond the boxes that your brain has organized your life in. Allowing your life to spill out of those boxes. To spill out of the neat prejudice and bias that we all create with our thoughts. Leo, this is really cool, and I hope that you hear this reading as such a special opportunity. And there's so much to be grateful for here, too. Like, just the opportunity to glimpse the divine through other. The fact that many of you are in a place in your life where you have this mirror, whoever it is, whatever it is. To have this mirror is to be in a place in your life where you are like leveling up in a way. It's a very clear-cut way to make your life, to make this next cycle of life, whatever that is for you, more meaningful. To explore more freely, and to make the most of every present moment that you have. We go through periods where we aren't blessed with mirrors that come so readily, that are so willing, that are so loving, that provide such a safe space. So the fact that you have this in March, whatever that is, Leo, don't waste it. Take advantage of it. Consciously remove your own blindfold. Consciously open your eyes. Consciously feel where your thinking stops. Feel beyond where the thinking stops. That's what I'm hearing very strongly right now, very loudly. Feel beyond where the thinking stops. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I am so grateful that you're here. Sorry this got long. This was an intense, complicated reading, and I didn't want you all to miss a beat of it. I love you so much, and I'll see you next time.